these green energy stocks have seen a gain from 400% to 1300% last year. So in this video, I have actually handpicked 6 green energy stocks from this ETF PBW, which is purely based on the price structure and volume spread analysis together with the Wyckoff analysis. So that is very much actionable. So without further ado, let's just get started now. So the first thing that I would like to take a look at is definitely this ETF. So this is PBW, which is an Invesco exchange traded fund about clean energy. So you can see that last year actually it had a very good run up. So that's the COVID-19 sell off, pretty much down about 40 to 20, and subsequently we have seen a very strong gain, and in fact it's just had a return of about 200% last year. So what I would like to do is to actually find some of the stocks that's definitely beating this ETF. So you can see that 200% is incredible alone for a yearly return, but definitely the 6 stocks that I'm going to share with you today will definitely beat this ETF, because the return last year actually ranged from 400% to 1300%. And most importantly, the price structure at the moment is very actionable. So that which means that is easily tradable based on simple pullback or the breakout trading strategy. So let me just get started. So first thing that we know that this ETF is very strong and is in a very strong uptrend. So we have seen this kind of the accumulation structure, breaking out, pulling back, tested the resistance turn support level with a backing out action, and subsequently we have seen this kind of the marking up action. So this ETF is definitely in a very strong uptrend. However, do note that there is increasing of the supply, and especially in this final run up, and together with increasing of the reaction with the supply level shoot up as well. But take a look at the results there. So in terms of the downwards results, we see that it's pretty much similar to the past down wave. So you can see that right after this simple pullback is just return and break this new high again. So the first stock that I'm going to show you is, let's see, FUV. So this is Arcimoto. So you can see that FUV last year actually had a return of 700%. So this is amazing. So this sort of the return is definitely unusual. So it happened last year. So you can see that right in the beginning of last year, January, we see a very much stagnant movement. There isn't much activity as reflected in the volume as well. So the real activity actually started in last year, June. We have seen a sign of strength rally followed by a reaccumulation range or a backup action. So the real movement, which is the explosive movement, actually started in November last year. So you can see that there is a surge of the volume together with huge bullish bar right there. So that alone actually seen the stocks jump from around $6 all the way to about $20. And subsequently, this sort of the spike of the supply level actually stopped this immediate uptrend temporarily into this kind of the consolidation. So we do note that there is a reaction, first leg reaction with a decreasing of the supply level, and subsequently we see that the exhaustion of the supply actually propelled the price movement upward. So we see a low right there, so this is forming a higher low, so breaking out, pullback, another higher low, and subsequently this is another great run up, just forming another LPS. So that is the last point of the support before it actually break out. So this alone is another kind of the reaccumulation So some might notice it, or some might view it as a rounding bottom or some kind of the flag action. But nevertheless, the thing that actually interests me is this kind of the breakout with slightly increasing of the demand and immediately followed by a reaction or a pullback. So right now, my plan is definitely to wait for the action for this FUV. So there are two ways to trade it. So the first is simple pullback. So I'm actually anticipating some kind of the testing going on. So to go to this box area somewhere around, let's see, is 18.7 to about 19.4. So I brought up this level based on typical resistance support level and also the volume as well. So it's a mixture of two. So as long as it can come to my level, then showing some kind of the reversal signal, then I will enter long with a stop somewhere around just below this big candle, or some conservative stop loss might be somewhere around $15 based on this swing low alone. Otherwise, if it didn't come to my level, then probably I will just wait for the breakout of the previous all-time high level right there. So once breaking out, I will just jump in and trade this sort of the breakout with a stop somewhere around maybe let's see, a swing low or conservative stop loss somewhere around $17. Alright, so that's FUV, and it's a very nice price structure at the moment. So definitely supply has been decreasing, and so far the supply is not threatening at the moment. So we just need to wait and see how this pullback is unfolding. So next stock will be NIO. So NIO is amazing stock. So this is what they call the Tesla in China, the China Tesla. So I'm not too sure how good it is comparing to Tesla, but certainly I can comment it based on the price structure alone. And in terms of the performance, last year it had a return of 1300%. So that's amazing. So definitely amazing. Whether it's a Tesla in China or not, it doesn't really matter because the return last year is 1300%. All right. So we can see that last year actually had this very dull action and just a tight consolidation before it actually break out with an increasing of the volume. So you can see this is a breaking out horizontal type of a consolidation with the decreasing of the supply, and subsequently we have another sign of strength rally as a backing up action of this accumulation range. So you can see that this backup action forming this rounding type of action with the decreasing of the supply level, and subsequently have another breakout with a surge of the demand, and then with a tight consolidation with a decreasing of the supply, and then the rest is the history. So we have seen this kind of the acceleration to the upside, a bit of the parabolic movement. So we see the volume exploding to the upside as well, subsequently followed by this change of character. So this change of character essentially just stopped this up move temporarily, at least go into this trading range. So we see that the trading range lasted probably just about 1.5 months, and now it's just breaking out, subsequently followed by a simple pullback, tested the previous resistance, now turned the support level. So I think in terms of the technical level is pretty straightforward, and this is a very good opportunity for the reaccumulation. So we have seen this is a reaccumulation structure. Supply has been decreasing. When it's breaking out, we see that demand increasing, subsequently followed by a pullback, tested the level. So my plan is actually to wait for a pullback. So if we can just have another pullback, let me zoom in, and you can see that I have drawn up this level. So that's somewhere around 57.7 or to about 59. So if you can just have a simple pullback, tested the level and reverse up, then that could become my long signal. Otherwise, probably I will just wait for another few days to wait for this kind of the breakout type of action of the previous swing high level. So depending on how it moves, so far I've kind of just anticipating the price actually traveling within this trading band right there from about 57 to this level, about all-time high level, which is somewhere around 66 or 67. So no matter how it turn out, definitely is easily actionable, tradable. So my stop loss, in case that it can just have a pullback reversal, I will just put it somewhere around there, just below this gap right there. So that could be somewhere around 52. Okay, so that's NIO. Next one, Tesla. Okay, so when we mention NIO, I think that we definitely need to take a look at Tesla. So Tesla, last year alone had a return of 700%, 728%. So that's amazing. You can see that last year we have seen it actually run up together with the broad market. Subsequently, the COVID sell-off actually take it down with this reaction, and then it had a generally similar to the broad market recovery. So that alone forming this kind of the accumulation structure with a bit of the shakeout type of action during this COVID sell-off, and then we have seen a breaking out followed by a higher ground backing up action. So you can see that based on the structure alone, this sort of the backup action actually happened at this higher ground instead of backing up, tested this immediate resistance, now turned the support level. So this structural strength itself is showing up. So definitely we can expect some kind of the outperformance in Tesla. And subsequently, you see a breakout forming, followed by a apex type of the consolidation where supply has been decreasing. Then we have seen another breakout type action, followed by, well, I view it as a upsloping type of the consolidation, and eventually have this kind of the acceleration run up to the upside. So definitely this is a parabolic run up. But most importantly, parabolic run up is very vulnerable for a pullback, sorry, a very sharp reaction, not a simple pullback like this. So I view this as an unusual type of the pullback, because right after this kind of the parabolic movement, we definitely did not really see a explosion of the volume, something like this, or even this kind of the volume. In fact, volume has been very thin, and during the reaction with this a bit of the apex formation, supply has been decreasing. So that actually suggested that there is a supply absorption going on. So what I actually plan to do is to wait for a breakout of this previous swing high level right there. So that's somewhere around $870. So after this breakout, then potentially can enter a long entry right there with a stop somewhere around 800, or once a bit conservative, maybe 790, just below this bearish bar. So that's my plan. And subsequently, next stock will be, alright, ENPH, ENPHASE Energy. So ENPHASE is another strong momentum stocks. So last year had a return of about 500%. So let's take a look at the price structure since last year. So last year we definitely see rounding bottom type of the action, and just prior to the COVID sell-off had this kind of the breakout, gapping up, breaking out, but no follow through the upside, and here comes this COVID sell-off. But despite the aggressive COVID sell-off, we noticed that it actually formed a higher low. So this is again relatively constructive for the bullish case, and we notice that subsequently it just kind of forming another upsloping range. So this upsloping range actually build up further causes for the upside target. So we notice that this is the causes build with the upsloping range. So right after the breakout of the range, so that's the sign of strength rally, and breaking out followed by a backing out action, tested the previous resistance now to the support, and eventually just continue to mark up with the acceleration to the upside. So this again very similar to Tesla price action, especially the last move with a climatic up move, and this is generally very encouraging because this sort of the shallow type of the reaction, despite it's not as shallow as Tesla, but it's still considered very good. And if you just take a look at this, that's the previous resistance now turn to support level. So what I actually plan to do is to wait for a pullback. So you can see that I have drawn up the level somewhere around 190 to about 196. So if there's another pullback, test the level, reversal up, then that could be a very good long entry with a stop, conservative stop at about 170. Otherwise, that could be somewhere around 188, just below this bearish candle. So that could be my stop. So otherwise, I will anticipate another breakout of this middle candle right there. So that will be somewhere around 215. So that could be for scaling in for the position as well. Otherwise, if it did not come down, then have another breakout. I'll just enter long based on the breakout alone with a stop somewhere around maybe 188. For very tight stop, probably around 200. So depending how you want to manage your position, so either way is fine. So next one, IEA, infrastructure and energy alternative. So again, this stocks last year had a return of about 400%. So let's take a look at last year. So we noticed that there is definitely a structure, accumulation structure form just prior to 2020, and subsequently actually 2020. So we noticed this kind of the interesting movement. So this is a COVID sell-off, but it's kind of muted without really have any kind of the volume. So the actual movement actually started right after this spike of the volume in August last year. So subsequently we noticed that there is a climbing up and breaking out of the previous resistance level. So right after the breakout, pulling back, and then we see a acceleration to the upside. So this is very interesting. So this is some momentum changing. So you actually change from this sort of the up channel to a very steep up channel. So now I think it's just kind of reaching in a very interesting position, location, because there are two levels of the support. First level is definitely this kind of the demand line out from this up channel alone, and subsequently the second support is the horizontal type of the support. So I just drawn up this type of the boxes where I actually anticipate maybe it can have another kind of the pullback tested with a reversal type of a signal. Then I think could become a very good long entry. Otherwise, just wait for the breakout entry right there, somewhere around $24. So with a stop maybe around 20. So that will be very conservative, stop at about 20. So if you like to go for a very aggressive type of the stop, then you probably can go into the hourly candle. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. So if you'd like to learn more on how to increase your winning rate, definitely check out the video that showed up on the screen right now, and do remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also my weekly stock watch list updates and exclusive content for free. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you soon.